Hello everyone, it's David again. We are in Babylon 5, Season 4, Episode 2. And I'm going to turn this just a little bit. I think one of my cats went and smacked the tripod, there we go, and turned it around. So we are on Season 4, Episode 2, Whatever Happened to Mr. Garibaldi? It's been 9 days since the Hadoom. The League has broken up, and Lanier goes to Dr. Franklin about Delenn. Oh dear. Sheridan is talking to Lorianne, and he comes in and out of this, "Who are you?" And Sheridan says, "Well, who am I?" And Lorianne basically says, "Well, in your case, my friend, you are quite dead." And cue the entrance. Now I can tell you, usually not the way you want to go around talking to people and telling them that they're dead or dying. Having been a nurse for many years, you usually don't walk up and say, "Hi there, how are you? You're gonna die tonight. So long, love you. Can I get you a new, some ice for your water there, sir?" Usually not the way you want to go around announcing that sort of thing, Mr. Lorianne. Should send you to nursing school. At any rate, Jakar confronts a guy named Isaac who has a piece of a Star Fury that he salvaged that matches Mr. Garibaldi's serial number. So, Jakar was confronting this guy. The bar owner didn't like it and was trying to stamp his authority. And all of a sudden, as Jakar was about to get into a big old fight, Marcus shows up with his pike and starts laying down the law. So, at any rate, a little bit later, the barkeeper tells the Centauri, "Hey, I might have something here for you." And as he's going through the police lineup, or actually pictures of different Narns, which, by the way, is a highly unreliable way. Witness recognition is really a very poor way of identifying somebody that they've come across in different scientific studies. So, but at any rate, he recognizes Jakar. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. And there's a big old price on his head. We zip on in, and Dr. Franklin confronts Delenn about not eating for 7+ days. And she goes, "Well, Minbari can go 14 days without eating." And he goes, "Yes, but you're half human now. You've got to take that into account." And I can tell you as a nurse, it's not so much the eating. Sometimes that will get you. It's the lack of fluids. That is what will really kill you within about 3 days, plus or minus a few. The nutrition, yeah, it's also very, very important. And having dealt with people who have eating disorders can be a really big challenge. But of course, Delenn doesn't have an eating disorder. She has a Minbari religious fasting disorder. So, she ends up basically saying if she can't fix things here, that if Sheridan doesn't magically show up, that she will see him again in the place where no shadows fall. Heavily maimed, and sadly, Delenn, or Mira Furlan herself, succumbed to West Nile virus. And as I'm taping this right now, we just got word that actress Betty White has passed away. So, Betty, I'll try and see you again in the place where no shadows fall. Said to myself I wasn't going to cry doing this, but, here I am. At any rate, Dr. Franklin uncovers a love letter and gives it to Delenn. He was going through Sheridan's personal effects as to what to send back to his family, etc., etc., and he came across it and he played it for Delenn. And so she ended up getting energized by this. And we zip on over. Sure enough, Jakar is captured by the Centauri. Oh no. We learn Delenn's getting energized. She wants to hit Zahadum in 7 days. And so she's assembling the White Star Fleet, as well as any other races that want to come along, and gonna hit the place of the shadows, hopefully take them out once and for all. We zip on over, and Cartagia presents Jakar in chains as a gift to Londo. Kind of shocking and surprising to Londo, but fortuitous, because as we all know, he's going to use Jakar to effect to get rid of the monster on the throne. And Jakar basically says, when he's in he and Londo are talking back and forth in Jakar's cell. Jakar basically says, "Fine, you want the monster off of the throne. I will help you, but the price is you have to get the monster off of my planet. In other words, end your occupation and free Narn." And Londo says, "Okie dokie, will do." We zip on in, and it ends with Lorien telling Sheridan he was old when the molecules of Earth joined, and basically says, "I am the first one." Quick question. We all know, or we all can surmise from science, that Earth is roughly 4.5 billion years old, plus or minus, 50 years or so. 4.5 billion years old. So he's talking about 1,000,000 years ago when his children started fighting. That still leaves a huge amount of time, assuming he's around 5 billion years old. So is Lorien really one of the first ones to gain sentience? Or, there's a big gap in that timing. If he was there when Earth, molecules started coming together, 4.5 billion years old he should be, right? But then he says 1,000,000 years ago when his children started fighting. Well, that leaves a 4.4999 billion year gap. So, if anyone has any theories on that one, go ahead and put it down below, because I'm stumped. At any rate, Lorien tells Sheridan, "Did you know you have a Vorlon inside of you? Or at least a piece of one?" And he talks about having met Kosh, but how could he have met Kosh if the shadows have been on, the surface guarding him the whole time? Of course, I believe he also clarifies and says that the shadows have been driven off and keep coming back. So maybe, they've driven off, the Vorlons come say, "Hey, how you doing, old guy?" And then they zip on, take off, and then the shadows come back. Is that how that works, I guess? At any rate, he ends with the, "Hey Sheridan, I'm going to try and bring you back to life. This may or may not work, but basically, you've got to do your part, and you've got to think of, do you have anything worth living for?" And so he also ends with, the thoughts of Delenn and being able to come back to Delenn. So, as most people would say, I have my family worth living for, I have my friends worth living for. One of my oldest patients, when I worked in the nursing home as a nurse, she was 114, okay? And one day I asked her, when she was kind of clear of mind, because she had severe dementia at that age, but I asked her, and I said, is it, fun being this old? Is it, and she said, "No, it sucks." And I'm like, "Well, why do you say that?" She goes, "Because everything I've had that's worth living for, all of my friends, all of my family, all of my loved ones, they have been dead for decades." So I guess, that statement, "Do you have anything worth living for?" Pretty powerful statement. At any rate, as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next episode.